law. She's a very strong progressive, good lawyer uh, to boot, and she was again, she was the person who challenged Zephyr Teachout. She challenged Andrew Cuomo the first time around, doing what Cynthia Nixon is doing right now. By the way, they also did have a debate for they had a debate for uh, uh, what am I trying to say? Cynthia and Andrew also had a debate as well in New York. So she's also ran for Congress 2 years later in a neighboring district, New York 19, losing to Republican John Faso. Cuomo was backing New York James, Letitia James, who's the New York City public advocate, who's a popular in the city, largely unknown in the rest of the state. So she's very well known in the city, but that's the whole state we got to worry about here. So pretty much the point is, we got let's break down the race here. So we got Maloney, uh, James, Licia Eve, and Zephyr Teachouts. Teachouts the progressive, the real true progressive, our revolution, Justice Dems type progressive, endorsed by Bernie, challenged Andrew Cuomo the first time around, but she has not had so much success so far at this point. But we will see. Um, but here's the thing with Sean Patrick Maloney, who's garnering a lot of attention. He invested his time in attacking Teachout and agreeing with James at almost every available opportunity through by the end of the debate. It was no more clear what potential path of victory he saw for his own candidacy. Maloney drew on his experience working on the congressional investigation since his 2012 elections and made reference to federal security clearance and updated knowledge of the Mueller investigation into Russian influence in the 2016 election. Like every candidate except for Eve, he referenced Trump and his opposition to the current administration in his opening statement. His biggest selling point, though, was that he knows how to beat Republicans to win in competitive races. He said, I won 3 times in district that voted for Donald Trump, and later said, I'm sick of losing to Donald Trump, which is a little bit weird. Just doesn't make a lot of sense. But here's the thing, I really don't think it matters that much if you've had any experience with Donald Trump. It's about fighting him in court, not fighting him electorally. Like, we need someone who's like a good lawyer. I think Zephyr Teachout's the person there. But yeah, so as the National Party pours resources in the Democratic Congressional Campaign Committee's Red to Blue program to flip vulnerable House seats, Maloney vacating his post could do precisely the opposite, leaving open a seat that city and state New York already called as one of the New York State's most competitive races before Maloney announced his AG run. He's running his AG and congressional race simultaneously in a move that has drawn legal challenges from Republican opponents. Now, as he's trying to be a legal bastion, is that trying to be a legal authority figure in the Attorney General, which is a little weird. While there is one Republican running from New York, the Republican running for New York AGC, which is by the name of Kevin Wofford, Democrats highly favored to win the race. The GOP welcomed the announcement of Maloney's AG candidacy, as it could open up an until now unlikely path to victory for Maloney's Republican opponent, James O'Donnell, who's an Orange County legislator who would probably want the Democratic incumbent to get out of there, if you know what I'm trying to say. So yeah, while speaking occasionally on his own policy priorities, most of Maloney's purpose seemed to be helping Trish James pile on to and then rebut Teachout. The good thing is, though, is he's not pulling a Sharifa Nadar, he proved to be pretty much Sharifa. If you don't know, in the Michigan governor's race, I do believe we talked about this a few weeks ago on the show. Abdul El Sayed was undoubtedly the real progressive in the race. He had all the endorsements, but Sharifa Nadar still supported all the same things. So why do I say Sharifa Nadar was worse as a candidate than Abdul El Sayed? Well, he was lying. It's proven time and time again he's had strong links with the Republicans. He donated to Republicans before, and seen at a Marco Rubio town hall, literally asking Marco Rubio a question and applauding when the question was asked, which was quite incredible, just to say the least. I did not see that coming when he first entered the race. We did cover that as well on the show, but his policy positions were completely the opposite. and he faked his policy position to be more progressive to try and attempt to spoil votes from Abdullah al-Sayed, pretty much causing him to lose. So that's really not, luckily, what's going on here. What we see going on here is pretty much Maloney's purpose on stage was to pretty much help boost Trish James and pile on to and rebut Teachout, the only candidate in the race that's not taking corporate PAC or LLC donations. In a move that made it seem both of them saw her as a front runner. She racked up endorsements from the New York Times and the Daily News, so she pretty much got some pretty big support there. I mean, the Post probably more the conservative thing, not really going to endorse her, probably stick with James or Maloney. On several accounts, Maloney and James use the same language in reference to their opponents, remarking on what a luxury it is for Teachout to be holier than thou and swear off donations for corporate PAC or LLCs. I mean, you can do it too. It's not that hard, buddy. With Maloney claiming that such a stance was equally poisonous to American democracy as corporate money because, well, he didn't offer a reason. He laughed as James called their opponent Professor Teachout. She's a professor at Fordham Law, and attempt to paint her as a head-in-the-clouds academic, jab notably deployed against Elizabeth Warren in the 2012 Massachusetts Senate race. Didn't really seem to work because she kind of laughed that off. But those two are pretty much tag teaming. They pretty much have ganged up, which pretty much would leave the establishment wing of the Democratic Party undivided, or divided, really, to say the least, which would be a better thing to do, because that would split the establishment vote and unify the progressive vote. But what they're trying to do is taking down Zephyr Teachout here. That pretty much is obvious, and they have not seen any sort of success with that. But yeah, so let's play a little bit of this here, I think was what we can do. So pretty much Maloney called out Teachout for taking corporate PAC money, called out Teachout for taking corporate money or congressional race, and then she responded to that. Pretty much the point is nothing really seems to be working on them at any point in the night. Yeah, so this is what we got. Pretty much the thing is, it's just really, it's kind of annoying. They're becoming so much more like chummy. They look friendly on stage, patting one another on the shoulder several times through the course of the night, laughing at one another's jokes, particularly those at Teachout's expense, which is pretty sad, in the cross-examination section, in which candidates could ask one of their opponents a question. James asked Teachout about her past opposition to a gun control bill in 2013. In Maloney's follow-up, he asked, "Yeah, I have a question. Why didn't you answer Tish James's question?" Wow. Yeah, so it's really pretty clear what these two scumbags are doing here. They're pretty much trying to say, "Oh, if we can combine, we will destroy Zephyr Teachout." So pretty much, I don't know about you, but that makes me want to go out and support Zephyr Teachout even more. So yeah, we got all the establishment, every single other candidate out there is coming on to attack Zephyr Teachout, who's the true progressive candidate. And I don't know, but that would make me want to come out there and support Zephyr Teachout. So she's coming up in the state. Tell everyone you can. I live in New York. I can't vote, but if I did, I would be voting for Zephyr Teachout. That is an important thing to remember here. Yeah, so, I mean, now we turn to, we go from New York to across the pond to another big city, London. Yeah, I always love it when Americans learn about Britain, because the more you realize that London is not the name of the whole country, and that we actually do all live in hobbit holes, the better. That is a quote from Libby Watson, who's been on the show before. I encourage you to check that interview out. But yeah, she has to say that she's British, in case you didn't know. She's very happy to get you to realize that. So yeah, today though, I'm sorely disappointed to see an example of American failing abysmally to understand Britain. In Wall Street Journal today, critic editor Andy Ngo wrote a truly awful op-ed on his visit to Islamic England, in which he described as visiting a few predominantly Muslim areas of London and Luton. Ngo, I don't know you should say that, sorry, Andy, I'll just call him Andy from here on out. Apparently Andy found that quite disturbing, in the lead of his article illustrates he was clearly already primed to be very, very afraid. Other tourists may remember London for its spectacular sights and history, but I remember it for Islam. Yeah. And this is pretty funny. You know what? Actually, screw this article. What we're going to do is we're going to make a whole entire article breakdown of this, which would be nice, but I can't do that because I just realized they have a policy against that. They don't let you. That you need to subscribe. Pretty much is how it is. Yeah. So it was very, very disturbing. So I can just pretty much tell you, Muslim headed to the Friday prayer where non-Muslims went the other way. No one made eye contact. It's like they hate each other. Like, do you look at people when you see them across the street? I just don't get it. All right, so yeah, this is the lead here of the article. Now we go back away from that interruption. I do apologize for that. While I was visiting the UK as a teenager in 2006, I got lost in an East London market. There, I saw a group of women wearing head-to-toe black cloaks. Those are called burqas, I think. It's the niqab. Yeah. I froze, confused and intimidated by the faceless figures. Oh no! It was my first encounter with a niqab, which covers everything about a woman's eyes. So that's the lead of this article. It's like he just seen like a magical black ghost who was coming to scare him. No, it was just a few women walking down the street in an East London market with their religious dress on, which is hilarious that he was, it's really hilarious that he said that. He was freaking out. He was at least 13, and he was scared of someone wearing a niqab. This is presented as a normal reaction to seeing a wild Muslim roaming outside of their territory, or catching a Muslim in the wild. But it's really quite incredible. Of course, this impressionable young lad would be afraid of an unfamiliar item of clothing. He continued on by counting a recent trip he took over the summer. My first visit was to Tower Hamlets, an East London borough. There's about 38% Muslim, among the highest in the UK. Like, they're being overrun by Muslims. The town with Muslims is just 38% Muslim. Wow. Yeah, scary, awful, horrible. Yeah, as I walked down Whitechapel Road, the Adhan, or call it a prayer, I go through the neighborhood. Muslims walked in one direction for Jummah, Friday prayer, while non-Muslims went the other way. Each group kept its distance and avoided eye contact with each other. A sign was posted on the pole. Alcohol restricted zone. This is perhaps the biggest lie in the piece, Libby Watson points out, implying that alcohol was restricted on Whitechapel Road because it was a Muslim population. In the UK, unlike the US, you can drink on most streets, because we're cool in front and they're weird Puritans here in the U.S. But this exception to this rule are designated areas where alcohol are banned, which has nothing to do with Islam, but are usually targeted at areas where lads and louts gather to drink warm piss beer. That's what she says. It's a great review of this article here by Libby Watson. Like it's such a misleading. It's not an outright lie because it's not saying something that's not true. I'm sure there's a sign poll post that was there. But here's the thing. One of the main things that a lot of people don't realize is, yeah, this actually happens. Like, it's quite disturbing that this didn't get by the fact check or anything. So, yeah, here's another clip from this article. Women and girls are dressed in hijabs, niqabs, and abayas, robes, she says. Some of the males wear skull caps and thobs, which are Arabic tunics, with their trousers tailored just above their ankles, or per Muhammad's example. As per Muhammad's example, he says, the scene could have been lifted out of Riyadh, a testament to the Arabization of Britain's South Asian Muslims. Oh, no. At the barbershop, women waited outside under the hot sun while their sons and husbands were groomed. Oh my gosh, this seems horrible. Like, there are people getting their hair cut while wearing their traditional religious clothing. Oh my god! This is awful. How could you have dealt with it? You're so brave for surviving. Like, that's incredible. I'm so proud of you. So here, though, the author, Libby Watson writes, tries to present the scene of a deeply un-English horror. The